We're going to explore typography in a bunch of different ways today. Now we're going to learn a bunch of stuff. We're going to learn how to strengthen brand with typography. We're going to go through a couple different mood example in terms of like what you should use for, say, consultancy versus what you should use, like basic UI example like this. And we're actually going to learn a bunch about text properties and creating and applying textiles. And we're going to start working on our own typographic system for our own designs. So let's jump right in because it's going to be super fun. Before we can get into using typography in a bunch of different ways, we need to learn about the text tool with Figma. We're going to learn about text properties right now. So text properties allow you to control everything from the appearance and position of the text. You can even resize. You can use a bunch of different other features. Let's jump in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a frame. Let's just start off that we're going to just create a big block here. It doesn't even matter, and we're just going to call this our test. Now we're going to actually start using the text tool. So I'm going to press T to get my text tool and just click onto the screen, and I'm going to write something very simple like hello world, and the first thing I'm going to do is just let's bump it up in size so that way we can see what we're working with, and we're going to center this right in the middle, and let's jump in. Okay, so this is our beautiful example text. Now, the different things you can just like work with in terms of the text properties are things like font family. So you can set the font family here. You want to be like Helvetica, you can do that. If you want to be something like Roboto, you can do that. Personally, I'm a big fan these days of Inter. I think it's a beautiful font. The other thing that we're going to talk about is, so you've chosen the font family, which is over here. Now you can actually choose the weight. So Inter has like a bunch of different weights. That's why I like it, so versatile. You can choose things like medium, you can go to block, you can even have like black extra, bold. You can have so many different options. I'm going to stick with our medium for now, or semi-blasting, stick with semi-bold. I think that's good. Now a typeface can have any numbers of styles or weights. Every font family will come with its own selection of styles, so it's not going to be the same. For example, with seeing like a bunch of different weights in just styles, like the italic version, they include things like thin light, regular, medium, bold, block, and others are just like, a little bit less expensive. And they just have maybe several different styles to choose from. So if you're looking for a very versatile font, this is one of them, especially for like UI design. Super helpful. The other thing we can change in terms of the property is the size, which we illustrated before. You can either just like select it or come in here and select that and edit directly. You have other things like your actual letter spacing, which is really great. If you feel like this is too spaced out, I can like reduce it to like 2% and it's going to be tightened. And we have our line weight, which is really great for all the different sizing. If we have like, say, let's use our plugin. Just to illustrate this, we're going to go to Lorem Ipsum. And I'm going to just select the text layer. And there we go. I'm going to bring this in a bit. So this is our text layer now to illustrate just the line height. If I have 125%, you know, it's starting to space out a little bit more. 150, that's really great for things like, you know, larger paragraphs and whatnot. Over here, you have a line in options. You have your horizontal alignment, which is like text align left, text line center, text line right. You also have your vertical line options, which is so if I say I drag the size of the box here, you know, I can align it to the center of that box, to the bottom, to the top. Then we have other things like resizing property that controls over here. This is going to control how a text layer shrinks or grows to accommodate its content. There are several settings available. So you have like auto width, which we saw over here, which is just going to keep on spinning. It is what I usually use. I set a fixed width and I have an auto height. So it's automatically just going to keep on building, you know, depending on the amount of text I have. You see how that kind of shrinks vertically, right? And then we have like the full fixed version where you set the height and the width. Now, great thing we can do now with Figma is we can go into these advanced options here. You can set a bunch of different things. You can set things like your resizing is in here, your alignments in here as well. You can set decoration like underlining, strike through is you can have paragraph spacing, you know, paragraph indents. And so, you know, we're going to have that first line indented like you are reading a book. And you can also create lists. So you have different list styles now. So just going to come over here. If you just press enter, you can have another list item. The other great thing is you can change the type of list style. It can be numbered or it can be just like your unordered list. You can remove it. Just keep in mind that once you remove it, it's gone. You need to kind of fix the spacing there, and then you can set the case. So I'm going to just select there. You can set the case like that. So we have our uppercase, our lowercase, we have capitalized, and then we have just our regular one right there. So this is just capital. And then remove it will not give us the case letter anymore. If we want to even get deeper into this, you can go into our details and you can specify how numbers are viewed here. So if I say like 1991 or something like that, I can say that the style is, you have different style versions based off the font. You can make these smaller versions, which is just like superscript. You have subscript. Normal, you can have fractions in there. So I mean, there are a lot of different stylistic options, whether it's like variants and stuff like. So a lot of fonts may not have, an extensive list like this, like Enter does. You can even come into the variable font and set that weight instead of like giving it, like an actual weight, like medium. You can set it like 540 or 550, which is like this cross between medium and semi-bold. And if you want to, you can even set a slant. Now, I personally don't play around with the variable too much, but this is what you can do with Figma. It's pretty extensive. You can do so much with typography in here, just within a text property. So definitely take a look and look comfortable with how to use just like different text properties with layers and different text layers. And then we can start building some pretty cool layouts.